Hi, all. Good to see you tonight. Kevin and Darla here. We're still talking about married money. And have you ever just not wanted to pick up the mail because you just know that there's just, what's it going to be? It's either going to be more credit card ads or bills. Bills. And if you're really not wanting to open the mail and it's just piling up and you don't even want to open it because you're avoiding it, at some point you have to still go to work and come home, and at some point it's always there. No, it seems like no matter what, right? So now when you get that healthy level of disgust and say, okay, today's the day, we have to sit down and talk about it, and like we have to come up with some kind of plan, because I can't just live like this constantly, not even wanting to check the mail, right?
Right.
Or answer the phone for some of you. So
yeah, and you don't want to wait until it's just so bad that it just seems devastating.
Yeah. So that's too far gone. So, but there's still help. So, but once you get to that point where it's just this healthy level of disgust, it's just enough is enough.
So, and of course, we're talking about debt. So knowing that you have $25,000, $50,000, even $10,000, $100,000 in credit card debt, especially, is not a good feeling. And knowing that you have to go to work every day, and maybe you don't want to, maybe it's a job you don't really like, but you have to go because you know you have that debt that's just hanging over your head, right?
Yeah, it's hard. It's a hard little circle to be in. It's no fun. I've been there. Yeah.
We all have. Well, most of us have.
Yeah. So what do we do about that?
Well, we've been talking about last night about maximizing the gap. And of course, the green gap formula is all about having more money than you do a month. What a new concept. Actually having a green balance of money left over from your income after you pay all of your expenses in the month. That is a green gap. Unfortunately, many of us live with a red gap, and we have to reverse that process for a while in order to get it to the green gap. And that's what we talked about last night. So check out that video from previous night. Tonight, we're going to talk about, okay, now we've actually moved on. We've got this healthy level of disgust, so we're actually going to do something about it. And we've got a green gap. We've got $1,000, let's say, of money left over from our income after we paid all our expenses. So what do we do with it? So we're just using this $1,000 as a nice, easy number. We're going to take $450 of that, and we're going to actually start paying off our credit card debt, especially because it usually has higher interest rates. And we're going to get rid of the smallest balance first. Now, why in the world would we get rid of the small one first? It just seems like it's such a little one. We could do that anytime. Why not take care of the big one? That's the one that's charging me so much interest.
I know.
Right?
You take care of the little one because then you can be like, yes, I did it.
That's exactly right, Darla.
It's more fun.
Because you actually have an accomplishment and you feel like, oh, this is actually working. And you tell yourself that just by paying that off, and it feels good. So then whatever that extra money was that you were putting towards that maybe $2,000 balance of a credit card at $450, now after about 4 months, you've paid that off, right? And so now we're going to take the $450 plus whatever other minimum payment there was on that balance that we were paying, and we're going to apply like $500 to the next credit card that has the smallest balance. This is called the Snowball Effect. And we're going to slowly start paying these small debts off until we get to the bigger ones, like our car payment and our house. And then we're going to start really towards those and getting those paid off too. Okay. Now, so we had 1,000, we had 450 we've taken out to pay off debt. What's really good about the green gap formula, which is different from a lot of other debt reduction theories, is that we are going to start saving money at the same time. Remember how we talked about an emergency fund last night and how important it is to your well-being?
Mhm.
How does that help us, Darla, to have an emergency fund?
Oh, because when your washing machine blows up on you, you're not like freaking stressed out about it. You're just like, oh, okay, we have a plan
Right.
and we can move on. Or if somebody has to go to the urgent care, it's like, okay, we can handle this.
Exactly.
You know?
So
Mhm.
we've had a healthy level of discuss. We've started paying off these credit cards. But what happens when we have an emergency? If we reach for the credit card again, now we're still adding to the debt and we're just making the mountain even bigger. So we don't want to do that. We want to be saving this money at the same time. So 450 is going to go towards our emergency fund. Remember we said we wanted to sell stuff, we wanted to get an extra job to get at least $3,000 in an emergency fund.
Mhm.
Well, the average American expenses per month is about $4,000. And if yours is less than that, then great, good for you and your family. But that's the average. And so we really want to get to a place where we've got 7 months, so $28,000 saved just for emergencies and large purchases that we might want to make in the future. Now, you may hear that number and go, that is crazy. Why would I just have $28,000 sitting in the bank? So you don't have to use your credit card. You don't have to get a car payment, perhaps, if you can pay cash for that car that you need to buy. If COVID, a pandemic hits, like happened just last year, and you lose your job, think how much freedom that gives you for 7 months to know that all your expenses are paid. So we're talking about paying off the debt and putting money aside in our emergency fund. And then after we fully fund that emergency fund, then we'll talk about future times in actually investing for the future, for your retirement, for college funds, whatever those cases may be. Okay. Now, if you're good at math, you have figured out there's still 10% of our extra money left over. So we've got $100 a month. What are we going to do with that, Darla?
We're going to go have some fun.
That's right. And so it's important for us to be able to still enjoy our families, enjoy our mates, and take them on a date, do some things that are fun while we're going through this process. And a lot of debt reduction theories don't allow for this. And Dr. Troy, when he did this and paid off, are you ready? Dr. Troy paid off $750,000 in debt because he had a medical practice that had a lot of debt in it. But when he used this process and paid that off, or when his son just recently, his son and his wife actually paid off their house. They are still very young people. Maybe in their 30s. I don't even think they're 30 yet. So it can be done. And I know of another person, I just heard of this last week. Her name happens to be Jessica. And she and her husband last year put this principle to work and paid off $81,000 in personal debt and $23,000 in business debt that she had. So it is a proven process, and many more examples I could give you that it works. But this 10% fund, what are some things So because you might be saying, wait a minute, $100 doesn't go very far. That's not very much fun. So Darla, tell us about some things that we can do that are still fun, but maybe don't cost a lot of money.
Well, we're already going to buy groceries and have dinner anyways. So we could make your own pizza night and have the kids help put their toppings on a pizza and make their own pizza. And then you could play games. I know that might sound kind of boring or old fashioned, but you'll be surprised if you teach kids games, then they get more strategic, they learn sportsmanship, and you get that time with them and you can see their fun personalities come out. And they'll, when you're older and you learn that when you grow up, your kids aren't going to remember the times you worked extra and overtime. They're going to remember those days where you thought it was lame because you were playing Yahtzee or another board game or something like charades or something like that at home and making homemade pizza. And because you knew it was budget friendly, but actually your kids might end up saying those are the most cherished times they ever had. Letting the kids build a fort in the house. If you already have camping equipment, camp out in the backyard and tell stories and make some more, s'mores or something like that. I mean, you guys, you can do a lot of things. In Arizona, we go hiking. We can go hiking without even going anywhere. We can go hiking out of our neighborhood, or we can drive down the street a couple of minutes, or we could take a little drive to the mountains and have a little outing for the day. So there's other little things that you can do. It's not always something fancy like a theme park or something, but you could save some of that money every month to work up to a vacation over a couple of years, and you could have a nice family vacation with it as well. So enjoy your time together and know that it's actually precious to be able to spend fun family time together.
Exactly.
And dates don't have to be expensive. You can go to those fancy dinners, but Kevin asked me about that and we've done it a couple times, but I don't even really like it. I actually like to be home and have a date at home.
Right. Just more comfortable for us.
Easy,
But do what's fun for you.
But do what's fun. You could go play basketball.
Right.
I mean,
so Darla, tell us about, those are some great ideas, but tell us about what the future looks like for these people that are going to take on this challenge to really pay off their debt and become debt free.
Oh man, I have been where I had $20 to feed my kids for the rest of the week, and I've had bills coming out my ears, and it's just really stressful, and it makes you just think of the world in a different light. And when you get to a place like Kevin and I are, where we have gotten rid of our debt, when we want to go do something now, we can. And it's just like, I don't feel stressed anymore. It's just so freeing. I like to go get the mail. I laugh at the credit card things, and I just look at all the hype on them trying to figure out how they're trying to get some more money out of people. And I just throw that stuff away as soon as I get it. It goes straight in the trash can, you guys. We don't even keep it on the desk or anything, just in case. That's not in our ballpark. You just throw those away.
Shredder.
Keep living the way you want to live, because you're in charge of you. You get to be in charge of your life, and you get to be in charge of your freedom. And so if you need help with debt reduction, you can tell that Kevin is so passionate about it. He's amazing. I am actually certified in the Green Gap as well, and I'll take you through the fun part of it. But if you really are, you can just see how passionate he is about it. And if you guys are straining your marriage and it's a struggle for your debt, it's just time to let us help you.
I know. Get that healthy level discussed and give us a call. There'll be a link here that you can set an appointment to talk to us. Everyone, have a great evening, and let's go get a green gap that's much bigger than it's ever been before.